What is More Life Diaries? This is our journey. More Life Diaries Podcast.
Mic check.
Mic check, mic check.
Ready?
Listo.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a new episode of More Life Diaries. And we're coming live to you from
Toronto, Canada. Still.
live in the little nook, the little corner of our house.
Yeah.
And getting a bit of quiet time after a very busy, stressful day, to say the least.
Another one.
Another one. And today we're going to skip right to it. We want to talk about healthy mindsets and what makes a healthy mindset and how we keep our mind healthy and just things that, have happened to us in the last couple of days. Even today, throughout all the stress and the hustle and bustle, just trying to keep focused, trying to keep motivated, trying to stay stress-free, even though...
Well, I mean, it happens, right? You get stressed out, but I think, being able to take a step back and regulate yourself and just take a deep breath and come back to center is super important and something that, once you start doing it, I think it becomes just second nature. But for a lot of people, I think that they're just on autopilot and they don't take that moment to be like, okay, I'm super stressed. I'm feeling wherever you feel your stress, the sweat, the heart rate, the anxiety. I need to take a break for myself and just step out and breathe a bit, or, like we tell our kids sometimes, just wiggle your body, like wiggle it out. So
Yeah, and it's almost like the universe has been testing us as of late. And with stress, as we approach the day that we want to leave, and we always find that we don't have enough time, but then we have time and we just procrastinate, and like we just don't get to it. So now that we have a hard deadline, we really have a lot to get going and doing. And it's just been a little bit stressful overall. And when I say the universe is sending us universe, it's like all of a sudden these podcasts on mindset and motivation, being strong and having a strong mind and keep going are all kind of popping up.
Yeah, reminding us and,
different
things that aren't going necessarily as smoothly as we'd want them to do, or on the timeline that we'd like, or even just certain challenges in relationships in our lives, and sort of negative experiences with people that have been coming up. And in a way, like as unpleasant as those experiences might have been, I feel like they are kind of wrapping up and sending us a sign that this chapter of your life is closing, and you need to move on and find the new things. And
as we talked about in a previous podcast, it's not even the chapter of your life is closing; is the book is closing, the volume, and we're moving on to a new book. And there's going to be some people from the old book that are going to appear in the new book, but there's going to be a lot of new things and new experiences and new people.
There already has been.
There has been for sure, yeah.
Kind of taking new friendships and stuff that have come in the last year or two. But that's right. We did talk about that in decluttering those untangible things in your life, like, mindset, people, beliefs. I think that's kind of part of the reason we're a little bit, going through these stressful periods right now, is because it feels like those are kind of being forced on us. Like the universe is like, hey, like you need to deal with the relationship with this person. Is it ending? Are you going to continue it? And it's just, it's been, I guess it's in the framing of it. Like it's in a way sad to close that volume of that book, but also it's exciting that we're opening a new one. So
I feel, yeah, it's more exciting to me and liberating than sad per se. There's obviously a few close, like family stuff that is a little bit more on the sad part, but overall, I think that, the friends in your life that want to remain in your life will remain in your life. And it's not going to be always a one-way friendship where you need to take the driver's wheel in that friendship and always be the one reaching out, always be the one wanting to do stuff. It's like the friendship should be both ways. And there's certain friendships even that I have with friends where we don't talk for a couple months maybe, or maybe a couple weeks, and it's a very close friend. There's no hard feelings. We call each other just like we've talked every day. And it is what it is. Low maintenance friendships. And that's what we need in life at our age. As we get older, you need low maintenance friendships.
Well, it's like high quality
that you can have deep conversations with, that not everything is surface levels. There's time for surface level stuff. It's like easing your way into, the more in-depth conversation at the beginning. How is life? Well, how is this? How is that? That's how you introduce a topic in whatever you're doing. But then get deeper. We all have deeper things to talk about in life. And that's how you grow, and that's how you get to know each other. We live in a world right now where everything is division. They try to divide you based on your beliefs, and even you can't have your own beliefs. You have to either believe this team or this team. Everything is team oriented, right?
Yeah, everything's black or white. There's very little room for that gray area, that nuance. And
if you're a free thinker, good luck, because you're going to get put in a box and you're like, hey, this is only part of my beliefs. Yes, I do align with certain people, but like we've talked about, we don't even always align with each other. Like if you believe 100%, or not believe, but agree with 100% of anyone in the world, that's your soulmate. But
well, it's not even that. I think if you're on 100% have the same thoughts, how are you supposed to grow?
One of you isn't thinking. Right?
Yeah, well, because both of you aren't going to grow. Both of you aren't going to challenge each other. I mean, if I say something that you disagree with, we can have that discussion, and maybe it will result in me changing my mind or considering other,
or even just
ways of thinking at it. Yeah. And the same for you. And we don't have to change each other's minds, but we can see it from another point of view. And I think that's.
And we don't go to bed at night hating each other
we
over
enjoy those
a conversation that we've had, right?
Right.
And if you align, like we said, with someone for 100% of what they're saying, then you're just really not stepping back and analyzing what they're saying and really thinking about what you believe and what your beliefs are. And I think that's really hard for certain people. They're really team oriented, and they have their team, and they don't want to and they have their team, and they don't want to disappoint their team by thinking otherwise. And I'm like, that is so weird, because everyone is so unique. Every brain is so unique. No one is alike. No one thinks alike, yet everything in 2022 is trying to put someone in a box. And if you're in that other box, you're being judged for it by the other team.
So back onto mindset.
So related to mindset, I want to ask you, what is a strong, healthy mindset, and how do you work on your mindset to be able to push forward and think the way you think? Because we've done a lot of work in the last couple of years on our own mindsets and introspective thinking, and really thinking about our lives, how we live it and how we want to live it. So
yeah, it's a really good question. And I think for me, a healthy mindset or a strong mindset is when you can have something happen to you. Let's say something occurs, whether it's something large and tragic, like, losing your job or losing a relationship or a loved one, or as simple as something as, missing your bus, or, you can't find your keys and you're late for work. Like, it's how you bounce back from that. It's how you start to frame what that occurrence did to you in your day and how you kind of recover from that. And obviously, if you're late for work, you lose your keys, whatever, that's should be simpler to bounce back from than, losing a relationship that might take you days or weeks to recover from. But I think it is in how you look at it. And I saw a really good quote about this actually the other day. And it was like, somebody looking at a terrible thing that happened to them and thinking, why is this happening to me? And then another person looking at it, the same thing happening to them and being like, what lesson is this trying to teach me? And I think that's a beautiful way of looking at it, is to have a healthy mindset. You need to be able to frame things as, a lesson or something that can help you grow, a challenge that will help you grow in life. There will always be bad things. There'll always be scary things and sad things. Like, you can't escape it. That is part of life, unfortunately. But you need to take those things and learn and grow from them. And I think it is in the way that you, first of all, yes, reframe it and learn from it, but then also how you bounce back. And these are the things that will help you build that healthy mindset. But like, I guess we're going to get into those, like what builds a healthy mindset. So I don't want to jump too far ahead, but the practices that can help keep your mind clear and help you refocus and regulate your body and your mind when you've reached that point of, absolute stress or emotional break or something like that.
And to your quote, also heard a quote just right before doing this podcast, and I'm not going to quote it exactly, but it's about taking accountability for your own life and your own decisions and your own mindset. Take accountability. A lot of people that live in this comfortable bubble, at any time they're faced with any sort of challenge, they're pointing fingers. It's just like you said, the person that says, why is this happening to me? And they're usually the why comes at pointing fingers at other people. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. A lot of those people don't take accountability for their feelings, their mindset, their actions. Everything is related. And again, we'll get into it, like the steps, which includes, physical exercise and mental work, but take accountability for the things that are going wrong in your life. If you're so comfortable that whenever you're faced with a challenge, you're not able to pivot from that situation and make something better or even just grow out of it, something difficult happens to you, reflect, okay, why is this happening to me? And how can I grow from this? That's where wisdom comes from. Wisdom doesn't come from comfort, from you laying in your nice, comfortable blanket every day, watching Netflix, ordering Uber Eats. Don't
get us wrong. There is a time and place for that. But yeah, exactly. Growth does not come from that. It's just, that's a recreation. And if you spend all your life in that mode, in that little cozy blanket, you're not going to grow. And when something takes you out of that cozy
blanket, you're going to do the
blanket,
opposite of grow. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. You're going to be dying. Right? Because if you're living in that mindset, chances are you're not taking care of yourself physically, mentally. You're just taking on stress.
Right.
And you're just you're inching that much closer to death. Whereas, we all are. You're just getting there faster.
And so, like, to add to that, about accountability, like, I do think that, that's a really good point, because if you kind of imagine, if let's say you lose your job, you're fired from your job. Obviously, that's hard on somebody. That's upsetting, stressful. You grieve, you worry about your future. But if you spend too much time thinking, well, why did I get fired from this job? It's because of this, and it's not fair. Or it's because, my boss didn't like me because of ABC, and this wasn't really like they thought this thing, and it's not true. If you keep dwelling on all of these excuses of why it's not your fault, whether it is, maybe it isn't your fault, but if you just keep sitting there blaming somebody, you're not going to get out of it. When you need to focus your mind and your energy on, okay, like, that happened, that sucked, I'm sad, I'm going to grieve, and then I'm going to pick up, and what's next?
And
what am I going to do
now? Motivated from that. Do think about it. Do analyze.
You have to let yourself have those feelings 100%, but you can't sit there and dwell and point fingers. It doesn't get you anywhere. So you need to pick yourself up, and that is a strong mindset to be like, okay, what's next? And maybe I'll use this time to look at, did I really like that job? What is there something else I'd rather do?
Yeah.
And figure it out. And yeah, exactly. I think that is a good example of somebody who would be a weak mindset and just like wallow in their weakness. And I think we'll probably get into that a little bit more with the people you surround yourself with and how that they can play a role in that. But then also if you pick yourself up and you're like, hey, next, like, what are we doing? Like, what's the plan? That is definitely someone with a strong mindset. And again, not to belittle the importance of feeling your feelings, the importance of grieving a situation ending, but that has to be temporary and movement needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. So let's maybe go over some steps that we highlighted to build a strong mindset. And obviously everything starts with building a strong body, or, you know, having some sort of resistance training. A lot of people don't have anything difficult in life that, you know, like we talked about, comfort. And sometimes you need to put yourself in a difficult situation to be able to grow. And what I mean by that is, like step one would be diet and exercise, right?
Strong body, strong mind.
Strong body, strong mind. Everything, first of all, starts with what you consume, what you put into your body, right? Nutrition, and then what you put out in terms of energy. And I know, and I can probably speak to both of us, we haven't been exercising or eating as healthy as we should in the last couple of weeks because of that increase in stress. And that's just to show you that if you live your life in a stressful mindset all the time, you're not going to be eating well, and you're not going to be exercising, because you're going to say exactly what we've said. We don't have time to do that, right? We try to squeeze it in here and there, but it's not where we would want it to be. And I know for myself, as soon as I go for a nice run or I have a nice workout, I just feel the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. And even more than that, I feel motivated and I can think clearly, and I listen to podcasts or music that motivates me to keep pushing. Yeah. And although I may feel physically tired from doing it, I feel a lot more clear in my mind, and that ends up expanding the amount of time that I can actually put towards building something and doing something and being a better dad or being a better husband or whatever it may be. Cook a healthy meal because I've just exercised. I don't want to undo all that.
Right. So let me ask you, for you, like, what do you think, like, how do you, I know the last couple of weeks we've been off because there's so many things, but normally, how do you try to structure your day to make sure you get that run in, that you make that healthy meal? Like, do you have any tips or tricks that are like the thing that starts the ball off correctly for you in the day? Is there something that you have?
Order Uber Eats. No, I'm just kidding.
Or like something that can break or make you. Like if you do this in the morning, you're 100% good and you know like your day is going to go well.
I'm not a morning person for any. I like to sit.
I know, but it doesn't have to be in the morning. What in the day, like, is
yeah?
The thing
I think for me, it's just that point in the day, and it's usually around my lunchtime when I have that hour from work to just get dressed and go. If I sit and think about it, or if I sit and analyze my energy level and my hunger level, and do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? It's like, I just have to lace up the shoes and go, or else I'm not going to go. And I think that's an important takeaway, even for me, just reflecting on it. It's like, just do it, just go. Fuck, even if you have to walk for 30 minutes, at least you're out walking for 30 minutes. It's better than doing absolutely nothing. And I find it very difficult to exercise at home. And yes. I have to leave the house to be able to get exercise done. So that's another thing. When I first started running, I was just like, let me run 2 kilometers away from home, and then I'll have to run 2 kilometers back, no matter what, or I'll have to walk it. There's no choice. So that's kind of my mindset, is like, just keep going, run away, and then you'll have to come back and you'll have to exercise, but not giving it too much initial thought. And yeah, that whole exercise routine has kind of been broken in the last couple of years, whereas we were in a really good flow before then. But I think that's one of our main goals, is to get back to it once we're settled in Mexico, is to really get back into a healthy routine and have that progress. We're working on our mind now, and also feel that progress physically, and be as healthy as we can, and eat as healthy as we can, and be as strong as we can.
Yeah.
And I think we owe it, everyone owes it to themselves.
And you owe it to not just you, but the people in your family. Like, I think it's great for the kids to see that. It makes you healthier, so you'll be around longer. And I think it does, not that you're in a bad mood when you don't do it, but it makes you in a better mood when you do it, and more productive, and more, I think for both of us, when we're not productive, it bothers us. When we have a day where we're like, oh, we didn't get done what we wanted to get done, we kind of just like, it's hard on our mindset.
It's depressing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because especially now, we've been kind of at this point where you're trying to almost take in life as it is now, and have these last days where it feels kind of normal, and you're in your normal routine here, and just take everything in. But at the same time, we have to work a lot towards our goal, and that takes time away from just being able to veg out and do nothing.
Enjoy your nice slow coffee. Yeah, for sure. We're in like a crunch time right now.
So it's hard to, try to just do everything that we want to do and leave without regret, is essentially where we're at. And leave without saying, oh, we should have done this and we should have done that, because realistically, we don't know when we'll get to do certain things again. At the same time, we've done those things. That's how I've been looking at a lot of stuff. It's like, we've lived those lives. We've done those things. We have those memories as they were. Let's look forward to more life and our new life and new experiences. It's like, sometimes you don't have to do things over and over again to really appreciate them and have that one last moment with it. It's like, just live that new life that's awaiting you.
All right. So first one is, strong body, strong mind. Just having that, making that time, blocking a time for you to do exercise some point in the day. And I know we mentioned resistance training and running. It doesn't have to be those things. If you're more into mobility, if you're more into animal flow yoga, kettlebells, whatever it is, like I guess that's resistance training as well, but like whatever it is, like make time for it in your day, and just get your heart rate up for like 30 minutes. And I think, you will see a difference in how you operate. I think we could probably go on longer about like mind and food and health and exercise and cold showers, and probably bore you with that. Maybe it's another episode, but that is our number one.
And another important, like I'll group these together, sleep and meditation. Sleep being a very big one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you can't get a good night's sleep, waking up and, exercising.
When's the last time you've had a good night's sleep?
Well, Callie was born
7 years ago.
Probably.
No. Sleep is something that we often look at as an inconvenience almost. You try to squeeze everything in a day, and your mind is so charged up with all this energy by the time you try to go to sleep, especially like before sleep, I'm on my phone, I'm looking at Instagram, I'm doing these things, I'm still working. That's the worst thing you could be doing. It's like, you're just sending these dopamine hits to your brain and activating all these parts in your brain. And that's essentially what makes you, like, what gives you the worst sleep as possible. And that's the thing. You need to give yourself the time. And that's something that I'm maybe working on loosely.
Like sleep hygiene is, you're not getting blue light in your eyes from your tablet, your phone, your laptop, whatever, the TV, like a bit before bed, not right when you wake up either. Things like alcohol, caffeine consumption later in the day definitely are going to affect your sleep. having children affects your sleep. I can attest to that. But there are many things, and some of those you can control. Definitely when you're drinking your coffee, your tea, like your last drink, and the amount of things that you're drinking, alcoholic beverages, I mean, and yeah, how you're handling your technological technological
Technological, your technology,
your
tech
technology, your
devices.
screens, like limiting those before bed,
Yeah.
waiting in the morning to turn those on and to look into those screens, like go outside, get sunlight in your eyes first. I mean, I love sleep science, so I could probably chalk your ear off on that one. But sleep, obviously, lump that in with, strong body, strong mind. And I think, honestly, I think meditation could be separate from that. I think that's a whole another can of worms. Yeah, it does go, but it is building your mental strength.
Yeah. And meditation is not something that I personally do, but it is something that I look forward in taking on.
Can I talk about it?
In the next year or so? But exactly as you said, meditation is a way to be able to ease your mind while you are awake and go into that meditative state. And I see a lot of benefit from that, even though that I personally don't do it. But for example, even just doing, meditation through whatever it may be, yoga and those types of things. I don't know if you lump those two together. I lump yoga is more of an exercise for me.
It can be. I think it kind of combines both.
But it could be both.
The meditation really, it is about silencing your mind. It is about, just quieting everything around you and living in the present, and just the power of living in the present and just quiet. It's in, letting your thoughts pass and just pay attention to what's going on in your body, how you're feeling in the moment can be so healing. And so, it can make things really clear, especially if you're in a state of stress or there's a lot of things that you've been heavy on your mind, just allowing that time to be quiet. Like I've been trying to do that more, and trying to introduce our son to it as well. Well, his school kind of introduced him to it, but also just strengthening that with him. And I can say it does, especially when you've had a challenging day, just to get that time to have the quiet and no screens and no distractions. If you can find that 10 minutes even, it will make a huge difference on your nervous system and, your outlook on life as well. So,
and I had a moment like that today, actually, when I was feeling very stressed, just outlining everything we had to do. And I closed my eyes for a few minutes, and all it took was a few minutes to just be present, clear my mind of any stress, and then open my eyes again and start planning stuff and, prioritizing. And just that one moment took me out of that state of stress, brought me back to the present moment, and I was able to, prioritize things and start doing stuff. So action. And I actually ended up getting a lot done today, more than I've done, all weekend within a couple of hours. And it was just a small moment in time to just stop and, turn the light off in my brain.
I think talking about being present, maybe we should discuss what is being present or why is it important? When you're in that moment of oh my God, I'm not getting anything done. I had all these things to do and I'm not doing them. And you're just in this repetitive, it's on repeat in your head. I'm not getting it done. I'm so stressful. The kids are crying. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's a unproductive cycle. You need to step back and just be okay, where am I right now? And what can I do? What is the first thing I can do? After you take some breaths, you can be okay, I can clean upstairs, or I can do the dishes, or I can just take it step by step. And I think it helps you kind of go back and focus on what you're doing. Because when you're doing that whole cycle of, oh my, I'm not getting anything done, you're living in the past, you're living in the future, and you just need to be okay, here and now, I'm here, what can I do? And I think that can really be helpful.
I think that's important. What can I do right now to control these feelings that I'm having and control the situation? Some people they'll stress out about stuff that's out of their control or that's a future
Or
thing that,
hypothetical. Like I
or
think too,
hypothetical.
if you have a fight with your friend, for example, and then you're upset and you're thinking about like, is she thinking this? Are they saying this about me? And like you're making up this whole narrative in your head and none of it's actually happening. And then you have to also realize that none of it, even if it is happening, has anything to do with you. If somebody else is going in their day and doing and saying certain things, that doesn't affect you here right now. Your here right now is the same no matter what anyone else in the world is doing, saying about you. Your here right now is the only reality that is yours. So to worry about all of those things, they're irrelevant and it's not going to serve any purpose. So sometimes just again, like coming back into yourself, coming back into your body and taking that breath can help remind you that this is the only reality, is this exact moment in time. And to think about what someone might be saying or what someone might say in the future.
And sometimes it's also stepping out of the environment that you're in. If you're in an environment that's really stressful, it's just about stepping away, going for a short walk, clearing your mind. And that takes us to our next topic, which would be the environment, physically, and also the environment in terms of the people you surround yourself with. So your actual group of friends or whatever it may be. It could be coworkers, just everything and anything and everything related to environment.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to step first, your physical environment, your home, is it a candidate to go on, what was that show? Hoarders?
Yeah.
Or like, is it, decent? Like, does it work for you? Can you move around? Does it make you stressed just looking around and looking about it like everything's kind of out? Or you don't know where anything is.
I think like a clustered home is a clustered mind.
Yeah.
I know that for me, and even, inching on the OCD side of things, like I have to have a clean house because I can't think if it's not clean. That's all I think about is, me having to clean everything. And like when that happens, you don't even end up cleaning it. You just end up putting more and more clutter. Mm-hmm. And it clutters your mind and it clutters your thought. And it's very hard to be motivated. Whereas if you have a clean working space and you have a clean home, then you're actually able to focus your energy on, actually doing stuff that's productive for yourself and for your mind, for your physical.
And then, is there anything else with physical space?
No, just, obviously a day like today when the kids were acting crazy and, it's partially our fault that they're acting a little bit crazy because we are very busy and we're trying to get everything done and we should be taking them outside and letting them run around and spend that energy. They're just kind of here and they're obviously tearing down the walls and stuff like that. But it's important to have, a support system where when it becomes too much for Kathleen or when it becomes too much for me, to be able to say to the other, like, hey, I'm going to step away for a little bit, like just go on a walk or even go, grocery shopping as uneventful as that sounds. But just stepping away for a moment to clear your head and re-energize and not go crazy.
Yeah. But the next thing I think is, the people that you surround yourself with. So I think, a lot of people probably have heard this quote, but like you are the sum value of the 5 people that you surround yourself with the most. And I think that is 100% accurate. Like if you are around people that are just constantly negative, that have nothing good to say, misery loves company. That's another quote that everyone knows. And it is true. If somebody's just down in the dumps, they'll bring you down with them, whether it's conscious or completely innocent. Like they have that energy is contagious and they will bring you down with them. And eventually, if you don't have a strong mindset or if you aren't able to recognize it, like this person is in a negative space and, you need to put some boundaries there, and that's okay. It's not a bad friend it's not being a bad friend or a bad partner if you recognize that someone is in a really negative space and then you say, okay, like, I'm there for you, but there's a limit, like sometimes you'll need to step away or to recognize when certain things aren't your responsibility to take on certain feelings, and like you don't need to feel guilt about that.
And there are certain friends where, it's almost like your duty to try to help them or try to talk to them or try to talk them out of that mindset and be helpful. But, there's friends that don't require that, or there's other friends that where you try to do that and they're not taking in that, two-way conversation, and they're just really closed off to it. And what they're going through and what they're feeling and how they're feeling is how they're feeling, and they're not going to change it no matter what you say. They're really locked in. To those people, they want all the attention. They want all their friends.
Sorry to interrupt you, but have you heard of the term energy vampire? This is like reminding me of that.
Yeah. No, well, from you earlier, but
I'm trying to have an interview. Man, come on. Yeah. So
no, I have not.
Edit that out. So basically, an energy vampire is that, like, there's people who are characteristically energy vampires all the time, that they want all the attention. It's a bit narcissistic. They only want to talk about their problems, their good news or whatever, but they don't take into account the other person. They don't ask you how you're doing, how you're feeling. It's just kind of centered around them. And then there are people who go through those phases of time where they can become an energy vampire, where maybe something is just consuming them. Let's say a breakup, for example. I had a friend that was like this, like going through a breakup, and it's just like all encompassing, and like all she wanted to do was talk about it to anyone and everyone who would listen. And, you kind of feel like, I can't take this anymore. I can't take, like, it's not changing. They're not doing anything to improve it. And like their stories is just like draining to you and like taking up a lot of your time and I think energy. And I mean, obviously, I think for most of us, like, we want to be there for somebody when they're going through that. But again, they're not going to get out of that with like you. They need to do that themselves ultimately at the end of the day. You can be there, you can give advice, but.
Well, I think that's the perfect thing you said is narcissism and energy vampires like that all they want to do is talk about what they're going through with absolutely anyone. That means that they're not open to feedback and to listening to feedback. They just want everyone to feel bad for them or to empathize with what they're going through, to feel sorry for them, and to enable that behavior further. If, a true friend going through something very difficult will have less than a handful of people that they're actually willing to talk about it to and to receive feedback from and to have that open dialogue. And that's because, as you said, you're the sum of the 5 people that you're closest to. It's like, I don't trust that many people to, especially like in an office space. You hear people that are just talking to everyone about what they're going through in an office space. And it's like, how do you trust all these people?
Yeah.
I trust like a fraction of those people. And who are you taking feedback from? Like, who are you actually listening to? That's the scarier part. Yeah. And it's typically none of them, which is also an issue because you're not listening. Everyone's going to have a different approach to what you're going through.
Yeah, I think that, the purpose of that exercise for them is really like, just listen to me. Like, I need an audience. I need someone to just agree with me. They're not really looking for actual advice on how to get out of the situation. But I do disagree with you on one thing. Like, I don't think that there definitely is an element of narcissism with that energy vampire personality. But I do think that anybody can kind of fall into being one of those people at certain times in their life where they're just, kind of stuck and lost and they don't know what to do. And then so they fall into this habit of just like, needing to be validated for their feelings and like telling everybody. And, I wouldn't put that as like a overall.
No, yeah.
Yeah. It's
overall
just,
narcissist.
They're in a spiral or something. I don't know what to say, but
yeah. It's important also if you are a spiral, which we've all gone there mentally, to go into whatever your going through with a clear idea of who your close friends are and who you want to share this information with and who you actually value their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's difficult. Sometimes, you really have to think about it, but narrow that down to a few people. Say, if ever I'm going through something very difficult, or if ever I'm spiraling out of control, I'm going to go to these few friends and listen to what they have to say to get me out of it.
Mm-hmm. And that is like that point on mindset. Like those are the people that you surround yourself with, or they're the ones that are going to really have that influence on how you handle things.
Mm-hmm. And again, some people, they just can't handle fear, or they can't handle challenge, and then that sends them into a spiral, and then it just completely messes up their way of thinking or way of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever they're challenged with that, they just completely lose control. It's like, go back within and go back to those few trusted people.
Yeah, like the reverse to being the energy vampire that's telling everybody the problem. Like when you are going through something, or when you're not even going through something negative, when you have something exciting and positive to talk about, like go to the people that you know are going to support you and be your cheerleader. And not to say that they can't give you, some critical or some
and we're not talking about yes men,
like
not someone that's just going to say yes, yeah, like have empathy and just enable your behavior and tell you things you want to hear, like really. And again, it goes back to the point, have a friend that challenges you.
Mm-hmm.
And challenges your beliefs and challenges you when you're going through difficult
in
times.
A constructive manner.
Right? No, of course, not judging.
Right.
We're not talking about judging.
Difference
challenges you and makes you think and asks you the open-ended questions that really does make you think. Again, they're not telling you things. They're just making you think. And I have friends like that. Yeah. And you have a few friends like that. And those are the ones that we go to whenever we are dealing with a difficult situation. Even if we don't come to each other with it, which we typically do, we'll go to them. And it's important to have that circle. And I just wrote something here, and I wrote like-minded circle. And as I mentioned, it doesn't mean that you're like-minded, you're all in the same box, your beliefs are all the same, your thought, it's not an echo chamber. You're not, that's the opposite of what we're saying. Mm-hmm. It's like, have people that challenge you. It means that they might have different beliefs and they might value different things, and they've obviously gone through different things in life. Mm-hmm. But have people that are at least motivating, open, supportive, challenging. Again, take a shot every time I said challenging. You'll be all fucked up by now. And just self-aware. So, people that really do the work themselves so that they can give that advice.
Self-aware is, I just have to make a point of that, because I think, like if you're coming to someone with some sort of news and they're not self-aware, they tend to project their feelings on that topic or on whatever back to you. And that can have a negative impact, right? Like if you're telling someone, I'll just share this information. Like I was sharing with a friend, our news about moving to Mexico, and the reaction from her was, I mean, I don't think she's self-aware. Clearly her reaction was, very based in fear. And the questions that she was asking about the move were not supportive. And it's not to say, again, like I had one friend who I told and was asking questions because of curiosity and interest and maybe some concern, but from coming from a good place. And this was more like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Are you crazy? Again, not self-aware, projecting her fears because maybe this isn't a thing that she would ever consider doing, which is fine and understandable, but not
curious and willing to hear and learn.
Yeah, not aware that like that's none of her business. And just to be like, hey, this is my friend, my peer, and she's telling me something and like I want to learn more. She's not asking me to go with her. She's not asking for anything really, but just, some
just sharing.
Support.
Sometimes you're just excited in life and you want to share stuff with friends and you want your friends to be there to support you. first and foremost.
But that
And then-
kind of behavior, if you're surrounded with people like that, every time you think you have something cool, new, exciting, they're coming to you with all the things that could go wrong. And if you're not strong enough to kind of be like, hey, like, this is not about me, this is about them, you're going to listen to them, take those words to heart, and you're not going to grow. So you do need to be careful of who you're surrounding yourself with. If all I had was a friends like that, I mean, we wouldn't be doing this podcast. I'm sure if I told her we were doing a podcast, she'd probably roll her eyes too. But I mean, unfortunately.
And if you're listening, thank you if you've made it this far. Comment and review. And we were challenged with that early on, especially because our decision to move and to pursue our dreams was very shocking for many family members and everything in between. And
can I interject with a question? Do you think it was shocking for them because it's not something that they would consider, or do you think it was shocking for them because they didn't think it was something we'd ever do?
A little bit of both, although we have done it before, just you and I. I think that part of it was maybe a little less shocking, but I think it was, I'm not 100% sure. Like, it was received from them with a lot of concern, right? And a lot of comments.
Yes.
About stuff, the uneducated comments. And those are the most frustrated because of the amount of work and research that we've put in. And it's the same about everything. Whenever you're questioned on something that you say and it comes from an educated standpoint or factual standpoint, and then your question on it, it's like, I've done my due diligence. Like, I've looked into this for many hours, and then you're just, throwing things out there that you've just thought about, or
you saw in a movie.
Or that, a headline in whatever it is that you see or read. And it's like, we've put a lot of work and effort, and I think that goes into building that armor and, listening to what people have to say, but really respectfully, but filtering through a heavy filter, their opinions and their mindset.
And where those things are coming from.
And
so
where
that
those
filter
things are
has to
coming
analyze,
from.
like, is this person educated on that topic? Like, have they been to Mexico? Where have they been? When did they go? In like what capacity were they there? Are they at a resort, or were they, do they have family there? Do they spend a lot of time? Those were things that we were kind of filtering, because it was clear that a lot of people's, concern and fear were based on, cartel movies and documentaries, which there is truth to that. We're not denying that, but it's a big country, and there's, a diverse climate. There's a diverse, group of people. There's a diverse options for experiences there. And obviously we're not, we take that into consideration. We know we're not going to go get drunk and pick fights, or like try to buy drugs, or, you know what I mean? We're just going to be like going to bed at 9:00 and
again, that goes
not putting yourselves in dangerous situations.
That goes with like perspective. A lot of those people haven't traveled too much, or they haven't traveled outside of the resorts. Yeah. They haven't even traveled within the city. There's dangerous places in the city. We live in a very up and coming neighborhood. Considered dangerous neighborhood in Toronto, and we love it. Not to say that we're going to travel to dangerous places, but it all comes with perspective and life and living there, and
street smarts.
And street
I think
smarts
is something that a lot of these people also did
lack.
Yeah, like that. Yes, bad things happen. There are bad people, but part of what you learn through traveling is who you can trust, and like to kind of feel when you're in a bad situation, and to be paying attention to who is around you, what they're doing. Like, I mean, I can't even really explain that. It's just something that you pick up on, and you learn. Like, I've traveled as a female by myself through.
Just simply put, people travel. And they're like, oh, I put my wallet in my back pocket in Canada, so it must be safe.
Yeah, you got to know where you are.
It's not safe anywhere in the world. You're going to get pickpocketed no matter where you travel. Mm-hmm. In the US, there's places. In here, there's places we see gypsies now. Is that an acceptable term?
It's not anymore. So you probably did delete that one.
We see the people that dress the same everywhere in the world that steal. Anyways, you're going to get your wallet stolen if it's in your back pocket anywhere else in the world. But to circle back to your circle, I also want to make a point of saying you want to circle yourself with people you can dream with and also manifest with,
Yeah.
have a future with.
Mm-hmm.
We're friends now and we're in this moment right now. How can we grow and how can we expand together? And where can we go from here?
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, like me and my friend Sheldon, obviously check out Creativity is Bliss podcast. We're really able to do that now and manifest and talk about future ideas because we're both in this very similar mindset, and we bounce ideas off each other and motivate each other. And I think that's really important, to want the team to win.
Mm-hmm.
You want yourself to win and you want to move forward, but realistically, like if we're all arm to arm pushing forward, like we're all going to win.
Yeah.
Right. And no one gets left behind. But if your mindset is shit,
bye.
And if you're judging, then you're getting left. You're getting left behind because you're holding the team back.
We're not carrying each other, right? We're like,
there's not like, exactly.
We're arm to arm. We're all walking together, but no one's being carried.
Exactly. And it's just so important. And we're finding, it more and more important as we grow older and as our kids grow older to also have our kids not only look up to us, but have people in the circle that they look up to, have a community of people that are motivating, that are creatives, that are doing things, that are working on their mindset. And it's hard to find, but everyone can get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for us, we need to lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're following other people leading by example. There's multiple people, but we also want to lead by example for the people that want that better life for them. We don't just want to talk about it. We want to live it, and we want to show it as well, which is
embody it basically. Right?
Yeah. Which is why it was important for us to start More Life Diaries, and from, the inception point where it's nothing and to where we're going, and talk openly on a podcast and have that visual aspect of a blog and a vlog and show people, like we did it, and you just
can do it too.
Normal people, and it is what it is, right? But and more importantly, just do it for ourselves and do it for our kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a good way to sum up like the circle of friends thing is, if you leave a gathering with them or like a hangout with them completely emotionally exhausted and like drained and feeling kind of down on yourself and negative, like that's not a good sign. Like you should be leaving like a night out with your friends or a dinner with your friends feeling like completely energized and motivated, looking forward to things. Like the best ones are when you get up and you're like, that was a really good talk, or like, I took something away from their positive, or I learned something about them that I didn't know before, even though I've known them for, years and years, or I learned something about myself. Like that is the type of friendship, like those are the type of people that we now want to surround ourselves with. Yeah. We've gone through the 20s where it was just like, this person's wild, like she makes the best drinks and we have a great time. And
like you get fucked up and you have a good time, but now you want to have good conversations and motivating conversations. We need to really, when you're in your early 20s, you're just looking forward to the next day.
Yeah.
And now we want to actually look forward to the future and building a business and building a brand and, living out our dream and building stuff that we never thought was achievable, and that now we see it clear as day as achievable and motivated to do it. So we want to surround ourselves with that type of circle of people. And I hope that, whoever's listening wants to do that as well.
And that 100%, that does so much for your mindset. Like if you, like I said, with you're leaving, whether you're feeling negative after you see them, that's not the mindset you want. You want someone who's going to be like, you can do it and I believe in you, and like, yeah, challenge you when you're acting crazy, but pushing you forward, not holding you back. That is somebody that is a good friend, and that will contribute to your mindset staying strong. And, if he gets off track, pulling you back on. So I think that might be my number one right now.
Yeah. And just to end on something, I wrote down here, normalize strong mindsets and healthy choices. And we see far too often, like we've talked about in this podcast, people that first, they don't take healthy choices, they don't make healthy choices in life, and they don't have a strong mindset. Everything is related. Everything is an organism.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about health, diet, sleep, meditation, strength training.
I want to talk also
environment.
About one more thing.
Yeah.
Is like inner reflection. And maybe that should have been put into the meditation point, but I think so many of us, we just live our lives every day. We don't really think about why we are the way we are, why the things that trigger us. And I really do think a lot of growth comes from that, and a lot of strength in your mind can come from understanding what triggers you, and how to kind of work on that, how to fortify yourself that those things don't get to you as easily, or that you were able to bounce back from them quicker. And I think I'm not doing it justice, because it is such a huge job to look at that and to honestly look at yourself and at your behavior, and back to accountability, like being accountable for when you actually mess something up or you've done something wrong. And
and try to grow and learn from that, so you don't repeat the same cycles again.
I mean, yeah, it's really hard. Like, first recognizing that this is a trigger, whatever it is triggering. Why is it triggering? How can I work on it to make it less triggering? Putting up boundaries with people, holding those boundaries and feeling confident in it. These are things like I don't think I even started working on that until I had our first child. And I realized that that was something that needed to happen. And the growth that came from there, and like sort of understanding of self, understanding of my childhood. And not that it was bad, it was fine, but like, you really start to understand where.
But dissecting it.
Yeah. Like, yeah, where your quirks come from. And, why am I like really concerned with making everyone else more comfortable at the sake of my own? Like that's something that, a lot of women struggle with, and like, why, and where did that come from, and how can I kind of regulate that? It needs to happen, basically. Like, you need to do it to have a good, strong mindset and to understand yourself. And,
and a lot of people are stuck in those negative cycles of thinking, and to have, self-reflection mm-hmm. is to admit that you have flaws. Mm-hmm. And that's very difficult for some people.
Yeah. To be alone with yourself, to be alone with your thoughts, which meditation is also about. Like, some people just can't do that. You'd be surprised with people who can't just stop and be quiet and still, and how challenging it is for some people. And I think that is actually a problem that's getting worse, because, when I was younger, we were like waiting for the bus, and it was late, you're waiting for the bus, and like there's nothing around, you're just looking around and with your thoughts. Now you have a phone, you can talk to your friends, you can look at Instagram. Like, you don't need to just sit and wait patiently, and you're not bored, you know what I mean? Like,
and you're consuming meaningless things, and you're having meaningless conversations with your friends, mm-hmm. because it's just quick little things that you're sending here and there, and you're sending funny, and there's a time for that, and it's not all day, every day, right? You have to have that balance in your life to be able to put those things on pause and sit down and have a meaningful conversation, like you said,
with
yourself, and listen to your heart, and clear your mind. And that's really the start to everything, is to put down that phone, because there's far too much negativity on social media and the internet. And as much as it can be good for a lot of things, a lot of people don't use it for those things. You can find a lot of motivation on there, but again, you tailor what you want to see on there. you follow the pages you want to see, you follow the people, you engage in those conversations.
Yeah.
Whereas you could be following motivational pages, reaching out to motivational speakers or motivational people that you actually look up to.
Yeah.
It's all how you use it.
It's what you intake. So like that is actually, you know what? That's a really good challenge, I think, for anyone out there that wants one. Like look at your list of who you follow on social media. Are you following the Kardashians? Are you following, I don't know who, like Justin Bieber, any of these entertainment people, any of these sort of gossip columnists, E-News, Chrissy Teigen, whatever. Like those are the people you following. Maybe make another account or, unfollow them for a period of time and start following motivational pages, whether it's, whatever it works for you. If it's religion that motivates you, if it's spirituality that motivates you, if it's, podcasts, like
and sometimes
podcasters that you want to follow, like Aubrey Marcus or whoever, like follow those and look at their content and look at what they're putting out and see how you feel in the next week or so and see how your mind shifts from constantly just seeing like being marketed to being made to be this consumer or, reading
and
about
consuming propaganda because those people are getting paid to post what they're posting.
Yeah.
Right. And
or negative
it's
gossip.
not for your health.
Like if you're just consuming, like the E-News, the Perez Hiltons, I'm not really up to date with who's putting TMZ, like who puts this kind of stuff out anymore. Like I stopped following those a while ago, but if that's all you're consuming and you're more worried about like the mean things that people are saying to Khloe Kardashian or to, who cheated on who, like you will see the difference when you start following people that have, positive things to
and
say
listening
and
to
share.
podcasts that are also positive versus just watching the news or listening to music, for example. There's nothing wrong with that, but also have a balance in your life, whereas you're listening to podcasts that you like, that do motivate you, that do challenge you in certain ways. And sometimes
entrepreneurship, if it's health related, whatever kind of speaks to you.
Yeah, just like you're changing your environment, that also includes, like we're talking about, changing the things you consume, not only dietary, but the media and everything else.
Yeah.
And sometimes on the topic of unfollowing, sometimes you have to unfollow some friends. They're just posting wild shit.
Yeah,
and you're just
it
not into
mean
it.
like that you're not
friends anymore.
It's just like, I'm not. Like, I'm going to unsubscribe to this
Yeah.
channel. Like, it's just not speaking to me right now. It doesn't mean that they can't call you and you can't hang out. But like media-wise, the stuff that they're putting out isn't, vibing with you. It's not supporting you. So you can do that. Or just mute them if you don't want it to become a thing between two friends. But I can definitely say, we went through a stage where we were watching way too much of the news. I think probably everyone did at the beginning, the pandemic. And that greatly affected our mindset and it greatly affected how we thought. I mean, we kind of fell, I don't want to go into the divisive part of it, but we definitely fell into that thing of order takeout every Wednesday, drink every evening. And that quickly led to some excess body fat and things that we did not want.
Papa gained 30 pounds. Don't worry about it.
I think by that was March 2020. By May, we were we need to.
No, for us, we weren't ordering Uber Eats. I was cooking 3 full meals a day. Not healthy meals, just 3 fucking Thanksgiving dinners a day.
Yeah, Mark, it was great. He was really testing his culinary skills. It was a different country every day, but we were eating full breakfast and then we were not moving. There was nowhere to go. So we had to kind of, that was a mindset that was being perpetuated in the news at that time. You just stay home and eat all you want and drink some wine and bake banana bread till you can't eat anymore. And you just shift that and listen to something else and get back on track, something healthier, right? But what you consume will consume you, I guess is the point, right?
Yeah, for sure. And again, normalize strong mindsets and healthy choices. And on that, folks, we're going to leave you guys. Yeah. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe and review the podcast and and follow the Instagram page and everything. And just if you have any questions or comments, just comment down below. We'd love to actually interact and see how you guys
suggestions.
are thinking and have suggestions and have kind of this open dialogue with viewers
How
of
do
the
you
podcast.
keep a healthy mindset?
And yeah, like how do you guys do it? Because we don't have all the answers, Sway. We ain't got the answers, Sway. But obviously, you know, we're on this journey together of
figuring it out,
and being the best people we could be, being the best parents we can be, having the healthiest mind and body we can be. And it is a journey. We don't do all of these things every day. There's some difficult days, but it is important to be self-aware so that you can get back on track whenever you're you veer off that track. So thank you everyone for listening.